if the church building is supposed to be a home, then why do the doors shut? That's what I want to talk about with you all today, because I didn't know if I was going to record because I've been... we won't get into my frustrations with this whole Pope situation. But anyway, I was just thinking, right? And I always seem to think when I'm right at this exact spot. And I think it's because like where I am right now, obviously I'm coming to like sit and just watch the sunset. I'm listening to music and I'm sitting directly exactly in front of where the sun's going to set. And in front of me, there's literally like a school next to me. There's also a mosque there. There's a church right there. There's a park right there. There's shops right there. There's houses and I was just thinking, it's sad that like the church building's shut and that we've really reduced the homeliness of church. Like, how can we call church a home? Because like to me, right, I've told you guys, I don't feel like, as in like looking back in my life, I don't ever truly feel like I had a home, right? In what people talk about a home, right? A place where you can always go to and no matter what, basically. And I was thinking, why doesn't the churches operate like that? You know what I mean? Like, why are the church buildings shut? Why have we reduced, like we have these buildings that are literally closed most of the time when we could be doing so much in there. And I was just thinking of like all the various things that like we could be doing in churches, right? That would benefit, like, because I feel like we've over spiritualized God and godliness so much that I feel like we've lost the message of the whole Bible, which is relationships, which is exactly why Jesus came to say, like, you guys didn't get it, even when the disciples, I keep referencing the scripture so that people know I'm not just pulling these thoughts out of the air, but when the disciples asked Jesus, like, why, what's the most important commandment? And he says, love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, body, soul, strength, everything, and love thy neighbor as thyself. Why did Jesus die? To restore our relationship with God. The Bible is a book about relationships and love. And so I feel like the fact that we've made it all so like rigid, religious, it's not helping anyone. Like, because even I was just thinking, right, even this whole thing of like when you go to a church service and like, don't get me wrong, I think it's good, the normal Sunday service, right? I'm not against that in any way, right? Because I think it's good to have like your regular weekly word, like that you go to with the scriptures and the message, and you get refilled with the whatevers. And I think that's good. I'm like, we got to go so much further than that. We got to go even further than like the Bible studies and stuff. Why aren't we just doing things with the people of the home as well? Like, why aren't we using the space? I was thinking you could have like people, if you have a skill, right? So say again, here's me being the absolute idiot, ignoramus fool, thinking that people actually want to do any teamwork in this life. But anyway, we could, like, if everybody in the church, right, say there's even just 100 people, if everybody in the church decided that they were going to do one activity for at least 1 week out of the year, or even twice a week, every week would be covered. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, we could do so much. If you, I don't know, if you're like somebody that does a workout, who teaches, who's a personal trainer, why are you not also maybe doing 1 free hour a week of a workout class in the church building if anybody wants to come, because we're all, the body is a temple, which we all know that's about the inside, not the outside, but you get the gist, right? We still need to look after ourselves. Health, is an important thing. It's very much orderly. It's very much godly. You know what I mean? Have somebody have a workout class. Why don't we have, like, in churches, libraries that people can come to at any time with no particular reason, with various books, various different Bibles. It could be other books. Again, this comes down to the leadership, I guess, to select what they think, whatever. But like, have a library section, and in the library, be able to just come and read or come and do whatever. Why don't we have, like, you guys know I'm going to go for the obvious, the homeschooling, because it's like people are like, oh, homeschooling's so hard. But if you think about it, the hours that kids are at school, the church is usually going to be closed, and there's going to be some people who are going to be available, not to mention the fact that you're gift aid, right? So this is the other thing I was just thinking, right? So actually, churches get the tax back from the people that are there, right, to go towards the church, I guess. I don't know how that whole thing works, right? So I'm thinking we may as well then put some of that into the church, because that's where you think your taxes are going anyway, right? Run a homeschool, couple of people come together, right? During the week, you drop off the kids, you pick them up. Everything you're going to need is already going to be there. Probably, like, most jobs. I was thinking about an airplane engine. I was just thinking about things in general. Like, most of the things that we need in life, like in itself, it's a huge task, right? But if there's a whole team around it, it's not so big of a task anymore. It's doable. So like getting an airplane off the ground is a huge task, right? Because what the heck? But when you have all the different pieces, all the different staff that come together, the people that built the plane, the people that manage the plane, the people that get the oil, the people that get the fuel, people that calculate how much fuel the plane needs, people that put the fuel in the airplane, all the different pieces and where they all come from. It's all a huge team effort, right? And society is a huge team effort. So it's like, if more hands were just put in, then there would actually be so much less for everybody to have to do. And that's why, it just upsets me, because I'm like, we could be doing so much. Like, you could be running, like, we could be doing things to help people, like, to win in life. So if somebody in the church works in, say, cybersecurity, I was just randomly thinking about this, they could do a one-off like seminar one day, and volunteer. And I was thinking about, like, these are the types of things, like when we talk about giving and like giving in church and stuff like that. And I say all the time, like, I don't think giving is not just money. It's also your time and your resources. So if you have a skill that you can bring to the table, like right now we're living in a time of social media. A lot of people don't know a lot of things. And whatever, if you work in, say, cybersecurity, why not do like a seminar one evening, be like a Wednesday evening at this time to this time, when I'm going to be running a seminar on cybersecurity with tips that you can use at home. Like, it might seem like a small thing. And this is where, again, I feel like it's sad that people think that their jobs in life are so unimportant, because everybody's job is important. It doesn't matter what you know how to do. Anything you know how to do, anything at all, can actually help. You see what I'm saying? And so we could be doing things like that. We could be doing so many different things. I'm trying to think of other things. I can't think of any single job right now. I just don't even know why I can't think of anything. I can't think of any single job right now. You know what I mean? But anyways, you guys get the gist. Like, think of all the different things that we do. We could just be like using the space. And then instead of us trying to shove the Bible down people's throats and shove Jesus in people's faces, you could just be like, hey, I'm going to be going to this workout class on Wednesday, do you want to come? Again, we're volunteering our time for free. So let's not go and start making this a business again, right? This is us giving our time voluntarily. And I feel like if we all did little things voluntarily, it would help. You know what I mean? Any single skill, anything that you know how to do, you could just bring it, you know what I mean, to the thing. Heck, if you know how to knit, why not have a church knitting club? You know what I mean? Or a painting club if you know how to paint and you enjoy painting. These are like the little things, especially for like when it comes to things like people's mental health. Like, imagine just knowing that there's just going to be this fun painting class with a bunch of people at the church. It's a safe environment, because this is the other thing with me is I feel like buildings and locations, they do hold energy. Like, I've said this to you guys before. And I do think there's something about spaces where, like, I was even thinking, right, so for example, looking from the music standpoint, why don't, like, say, young musicians have opportunities, or even older musicians, to be practicing in the building, to have studio spaces in the building, you know what I mean? Whatever the things could be, that people could do, that people can come and try. And I mean, somewhere here, like, so for example, even the place, right, this is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. The guy who is producing my songs, he where I actually reconnected him after all these years, locally they have like a local rock school, and basically a bunch of different people, they come together, they just jam there, and the kids can come for free. So the kids can come for free throughout the week, and then they have these like monthly, like weekly events where, like, some of them are like open mics, some of them are like structured, or they've got specific artists that they have, and people just, like, the people who work there volunteer. Then the kids can have somewhere to go. Like, it's the little things. It's the little things, you know what I'm saying? That you could be getting yourself into. You could have somebody in careers advice, right? Like, if you work in a particular career, like, why are we not doing stuff like that? You know what I mean? And sharing about what you know about this. There's so many different things we'll do. If you work in the medical field, right? So when all this different stuff was going on in the government, and there's the government saying this, the government saying that, you are the medical professional in the church. Why not you be the one to say, why are we not encouraging, like, hey, guys, this is some tips. I'm going to be running a course on what you can do if ever there's this again, how you can be prepared for the future, yada, yada, yada. Like, whatever you know how to do, because everybody knows how to do something. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're into gardening, for example, like, that's another thing you could be teaching everybody. Like, do a little class, do a little demonstration, show people how to get started and the basics. You know what I mean? And then there would be like all these mini communities. And then I feel like it's in those kinds of spaces and those kinds of moments that people actually get to know people, right? Because on a Sunday, I've been to many Sunday services, as I'm sure you guys know. And it's always very like you come and then like we're all there for the main thing and it's all very structured. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, because I think that's healthy, that there's like I feel like the Sunday service is like the starting point, and not necessarily has to be on a Sunday, but I feel like that's just the starting point. Like that's the thing that, if there's nothing else you want to do, you can do that. But like I was just thinking as well, like we live in this world now where, especially for me who's like a night owl, I mean, I don't know what I would be doing, but say that there was a library, or say that you were doing whatever and the church was open and it was late, somebody might be out and about and they might just see a church. I used to do this actually when I was in London. I used to go to, on random days when I was just not feeling it, I wouldn't necessarily go to my own church I was going to at the time because I didn't want to be made a big kerfuffle about. But I would randomly just I'd pick a random church and I'd just go there and I'd just sit like in the presence of just people and just kind of enjoy watching people, worshiping God, listening to these interesting different types of messages of different kinds of people, observing. And it was just really nice. You know what I mean? Like our doors should always be open. Like why isn't there like food? Why isn't there food available more often? And it doesn't even, and again, I was thinking again with the teamwork, doesn't mean we have to do everything in one building, right? It could be if we all work together, like all the churches, like even here, there's a church here. Where's the next closest church? Literally like, yeah, exactly straight down this road, there's another church. Where's the next church from there? There's another church right next, exactly another 10 minutes walk from there, there's another church. Oh, and there's another church about 10 minutes walk that way. So like if all these churches even, which are all reasonable for all the locals, right? Say these churches are working together, one of them maybe could run a soup kitchen, or not even a soup kitchen, could be running more than a soup kitchen and always be having food, right? Another one could be running a different kind of resource for people that are out there, you know what I mean? Or whatever. Another one, like why are we not like working? And then if somebody comes in and they need help, but that they don't have that, you don't have that thing where you are, you can say, oh, by the way, if you just walk 10 minutes up the road to that church, they have that thing you need. Do you see what I'm saying? Because I feel like we spend so much time doing all of the like trying to be godly and trying to not sin thing, that we don't actually become the hands and feet of God. We're not actually out there. That's why even the Bible says when you help the homeless, when you help the poor, when you feed the people who haven't been fed, that's like doing the same for the Lord. Why does he say that? Because he's like, because you're loving, you're showing love the way that I show love, which is by looking after people. This is what I was saying about relationships and how it's all about relationships, right? And then when people just see that they randomly come and get to show up, like that's when we start to do something different. Imagine somebody can just come and show up, right? And again, why are we not running more like free, not external, like counseling services, right? At the thing, maybe you can't offer all of your time, obviously you're working, but if you can say once a month, I'm going to do a clinic for this and this and this, if anybody wants to come to see me, and then do that, if you're like a qualified in that area, not that I care about qualifications, but I have got to work with everybody where we're at, right? So I'll just work with us where we're at. But, why are you not doing that? Like, why are we not doing more of these things? Why are we not like banding together? Because I feel like this is what would create not just like us all going and clapping our hands and having a good time and having a quick little small talk, tea and coffee. How's your week been? Oh, it's been all right. Work's been a bit tiring. Yeah. Really looking forward to summer this year. The weather's finally turned around. So can't wait to get the barbecue out and da 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 da. We could just be like having conversations over painting. That's what I'm saying. It could be something not that important. And also sometimes people might discover their passion or their purpose. Because I feel like a lot of times because we're so obsessed with like, do the things by the book, follow all the rules, like I'm saying in the world. I feel like we don't leave room to like, just be, to like, to just to explore, you know what I mean? Because I feel like that's the beauty of being a childhood, right? Is as a child you don't really have, you're in a place where everything is just new and you're just exploring, you're figuring things out. You don't know what you're capable of yet, you don't even know what you like yet, you're just figuring it out. And I feel like so many adults are just like never graduated from that position, because we all were just thrust into, either because of ourselves or because of others, right? These certain directions, and we never really expanded our repertoire, so we never really know, and so maybe you'll discover that you actually got another skill you never even knew you had. Like people could be running workshops, as well, like mini workshops, in the church, to give people opportunities again. And this is how we build a community. Because sometimes I get so sad, when I see, like, I'll be in a church or whatever, and get to know, obviously you guys know me, I'm clearly talkative, right? I get to know people in the church, right? And I get so sad realizing, oh my gosh, I didn't know that's what you do for a living. That's so entirely cool. Um, wow, we're sitting, it's like we're sitting on gold and then we're praying to God. You know what I mean? For like gold at the same time. And again, like I said, these things I think should all be done for free to the community, and amongst ourselves, like we just volunteer a little bit of something, but you never know what doors those things then open next. Because that's one thing I've noticed, like just by doing stuff, just by being out there sometimes doing stuff is how you then open the door to whatever the other thing is. Like you want to attract friends that do something similar to you that you like to do. You know what I'm saying? Let's say, I don't know, you like to build Lego, for example. Start a frigging Lego club, a volunteer Lego club. Bring your Legos. You know what I mean? And you might attract other people that like to build Lego. You might make friends that way. You're also ministering to people because you're like, oh, what is it that you do here? Oh, this is our church. Oh, this is your church. I've never seen a church that has I'm just picking, a lot of the things I'm mentioning are things that I like to do, guys. Like, I don't know what to tell you, right? But like, I've never been to a church that has this kind of stuff going on. It's like, yeah, well, we do. We have our services, we have our Bible studies. You can come to ones if you want to. All of a sudden, again, and like I said, I feel like when people are in a situation where they are encountered with something that they relate to or somewhere they feel comfortable in, then they don't really have to be forced into anything because you just want to, because you're just interested now, because you're like, oh, that's cool. I didn't know that you guys had this, you know what I mean, or whatever. And so I'm just like, why are the church buildings shut? Like, there's so much that can be done. Like, how many people right now are in their houses, probably like on their phones, like the rest of us? Look, I'm guilty as anybody else, right? Or doing whatever, or working, or getting ready for work tomorrow, because that's what I'm now thinking about. That's why I came out before the sunset, even though I wanted to go out later. But I was thinking, let's be responsible and go out earlier and try and have an earlier night, and all that nonsense I have to do, and all of that, right? And get my life in order. But like, look, we could right now, in this time that I've just been out, we could have been having something going on in one of these buildings, a quick little cheeky, and these places are local. You see what I'm saying? And so, I don't know, it just makes me sad. Oh, the sun is setting. Can you see how the lighting is changing? I wish you guys could see. Even if I turned it around, you'd be able to see. But I can see, like, it's going behind the clouds and the beams, and it just looks majestic. Like, wow. Jesus, if you're coming, I'm ready. Um, um, but yeah, yeah, it just makes me sad. I just feel like I feel like we really have, like, sometimes, one thing I've realized about God, and he teaches me this all the time, right? Sometimes I'll pray to the Lord for something, and I often realize that the very things that we're praying for, we have the capacity to get ourselves at least along the way. And if we just did the part that we could do, we don't know how God would show up for us for the rest of it. You know what I'm saying? So like, you might have something that you're really passionate about, or you love to do, that you don't know how to do it. Like, maybe you want to, I don't know, become a baker one day. Well, why don't you just at least even start baking a baking freaking club? Everything's a club. It doesn't have to be a club. It could be a one-off. It could be a one-day thing. It could be a whatever. You know what I mean? Why not host? Here's an idea. Why not say, if you want to start a baking business, why not go to the church and say, guys, I would love to get some feedback on my baking thing, right? Because this is, again, how we win, because we can now all help each other. And say, everybody show up. You're getting free baked goods, right? All I need you to do is, as long as you can fill out these forms, what you tried, and then you can get research data. This was a little bit too sweet. This was a little bit too big. You can get feedback, right? People get to show up, they get free sweets. You get to get valuable customer reviews, and we're all supporting each other. And then when people see the business up and coming, and they hear that, oh, your business has started. Oh, I remember those brownies you made. Can I buy some of those? Actually, I'm having a such and such for my birthday. Oh, can I buy some of those to take to my work, actually, because I took the other. And then all of a sudden, this is what I'm saying, all of a sudden, so many of these things that we're praying for, they can start to come to fruition, right? And so it's just sad. I've just had a really funny realization. So it's really sad to me that, like, so much of what we might be asking for, so much of what we might be praying for is like round the corner. If we could just work together. And yes, the workload is a lot when it's just one of us. Trust me, that's what I'm thinking about now. I'm thinking, if I could, I have so many ideas of so many things we could do, but it's like, I'm just one person and I'm actually overwhelmed with ideas. I wouldn't even know where to start, right? But if we were all working together, if there was like 50 of us, if there's 100 of us, right, working together. And again, this is why I think there's a failing in the leadership area, because in the leadership area, again, and I'm big on this. I've said it to you guys before. I'm the kind of person that you don't want to get around me too much if you're not prepared to live your dreams, because you will. And I've actually, throughout my life, wherever I've, like, so many times I've gone to places and people have like gone on to go, and like, I'll just be at work just casually talking to my colleagues. I'll just be out and about just casually talking to people, and I'll get to know them. I'll be like, you should just go and do it. Like, just go and do it, and just like push them to just do it, right? And encourage them. And before you know it, they're thriving. They're out thriving, like doing the very things like that you would never have thought that they could do. Like, and it's just the little things. Like, I remember I had a friend of mine, she like lost her job during COVID, and like, I wasn't the one who initially pushed her to start doing her other things that she was doing, but I was encouraging her. Like, I was like, hey, since you're out of your job, why not like pursue what you're doing? She now runs 2 successful businesses. One where she does like sweets, or as the Americans would say, candy, whatever. The other one, she makes her own handbags that she now sells. And like, I'm not saying that people have to change, like, whatever. Some people have changed jobs. They found a better job that they prefer. You know what I mean? Some people have just picked up a hobby that gives them something, a place to be, whatever. Like, again, when you're a leader, if you have these spiritual eyes, that's what I'm saying, when you have spiritual eyes, you should be spiritually seeing what God is placing inside of people, and you should be pushing them to that direction, and not for you to get something out of it, but to be like, hey, we have a church building, and you said that you want to do such and such and such and such. Obviously, you have to put in the healthy boundaries, like I said, because we don't want to start turning the church into a business. But you know what I mean? Encouraging them. Like, I remember for me, and this is probably one of the reasons I think about this, like, one of the big benefits of being a PK was whenever me and my friends used to want to have to do like practice for our dance things, we would use the church building. It was great. And my dad would just give me the keys to the building, and we would go to the building and we would just use the building. And it was just such a benefit. You know what I mean? To me, to have a free building. And again, sometimes you may not have all the money and the resources, but having a building, like having a venue, is a huge deal as well, might I add. Having a venue is a massive deal, because a venue space is like, as somebody who worked as an event curator and planner, which there are 2 different things, so much of my life and doing all the things I've done is finding venues, right? So I'm very skilled in looking for venues. I've visited many venues. I know a lot about the venue processes and how expensive it can be or not expensive. So having a space that just can be capable of doing something, it's like, why are we not looking for the gold in the room? Why are we not seeing what people are capable of doing? You know what I mean? Why don't a lot of these churches, you've got a whole freaking garden, why are we not growing produce? Why are we not growing produce to give to the people? Or, you all know where this is going, the damn chicken coops. You know what I mean? And somebody just comes to, we can work as, again, you have a team, you have a few people that come at different times throughout the week to check on the this, and to check on the that. All of a sudden, we put our stuff together and our lives start to become fuller. And also we start to make an impact, because then people can see us. And then rather than us trying to go out there and judge the world and point fingers and talk about this in the world and talk about that in the world, I'm even getting sick of talking about things in the world myself. That's why today I was like, do I need to even comment further today? Maybe I'll just shut up for a day. Because what are we proactively doing? And that's what I've been saying to God, like, God, how are we going to be proactive? Because when God says the laborers, when the Bible says that the harvest is plenty, but the laborers are few, right? Which I feel like that is the scripture I'm going to get tattooed, where, on my neck. No, I'm joking. It's going to be 1 John 3:18. But we should all be tattooing that on our hearts, that scripture, right? The Lord, that God, Jesus looked on the people that they were hopeless and helpless like sheep without a shepherd, and his heart was full of compassion, right? And he said, the harvest is plenty, but the laborers are few. Pray to the Lord to send laborers into the harvest. This could be us laboring, you guys. Like, I think that's what I'm saying. We sometimes over-spiritualize everything to the point where we're no longer just like people that love people. We're these like drones that are just trying to recite what we think is right and panicking about making sure that we're going to heaven for heaven that's already been paid for. As long as you've received Christ. And so what do we have that power for? It's to now go out into the world and to now be God's hands and feet. So now if somebody comes in and you're painting or you work in whatever thing, or they see, like, it could even be that you may advertise it to the church, but if there's a poster on the outside, somebody else might come in and might see that, like I said, if you're doing a seminar for whatever type of job you do or some kind of safety, like, type of thing, like I said, for cybersecurity or this and this or that and that. You know what I'm saying? All these different things. Like, why are we not doing that? Why are we not doing that? Why are we not prioritizing, like, come to work, like, come to church dressed in your uniform day, right? And like in one of these events, and everybody can come and, like, I don't know, have stalls and talk about what you do, and the world can come and find out about what different people are doing. It's like, most of the time, I have to say, like, most of the time I find that anything that I find that the Lord, and that I end up doing things for God with people from, it never started, like YouTube is a perfect example. It never started out that way. You guys know, like, YouTube is the perfect example, because those of you who've been here know that I didn't even used to talk about God at all in the beginning, right? And it just so happened that organically over time, I just organically developed this way. And now organically we're here now. Probably if I had thought and tried so hard in the beginning, my videos wouldn't be like this, because I'd be so busy trying to do whatever. But I kind of just crashed into this because this is kind of just the direction we had, you know, and so many experiences in my life with people, you know. It's like, I was even having a conversation with my friend the other day. She was saying how she met somebody that just lives with her. They went out just to, like, get some coffees, and it just so happened that afterwards she was like, yeah, I would like to come to church with you, or I'm thinking about going to church actually. And then it just becomes like this safe, comfortable environment for people to walk into, not this like, oh my gosh, like the Christians are going to judge me, or like, oh, we need to, if you're not doing exactly this, because that is being God, that is being, like, Jesus went around, like, Jesus wasn't just going around and just shoving his message was always, look, you've been forgiven, and that's the most important thing. But he was doing the healing, he was doing the this, like, why was he turning the water into wine? Oh, because at the wedding thing, it ran out. So Jesus is there and Jesus can do miracles. So he's going to do the miracle. It's the hands and feet. That's like being at church and, like, seeing somebody break down outside the church and thinking, oh, I can't go and help that person because it's ungodly. Like, if you're a mechanic, go and help the freaking person. Just go help the freaking person. And especially, like, life skills. I was thinking that's another thing we could do. There's a lot of life skills that people don't have, that if you have them, you could be teaching them at church. So say you do work as a mechanic, why not, you know, have a little workshop, right, and do a demonstration and bring in a car and say, if anybody wants to know a few tips about car maintenance, things that you can do yourself and how to do this and how to do that. Again, you just volunteer a few hours of your time, put up a poster, and if anybody wants to come, they can come, right, for free. And then people are getting help. If somebody knows how to sew, right, because a lot of these life skills, or it could be the basic life skills of, like, I was thinking about all these hacks when it comes to tax and taxes and how people could really hack, like I was just saying about taxing and things. Like, all of these different things, like, people could be getting help. You know what I mean? Say you work in insurance. Do a Q&A. Say, hi, I work in insurance. I'll give you little tips that things I've seen happen 100 times, mistakes that people make. Have a little Q&A. You know what I mean? We all come together. Like, I don't know, guys. I'm getting sick of, well, I was already sick. It's just why I was never talking about this stuff. And this is why I do think it's a miserable existence living on planet Earth, because I feel like so much of the time, like, us as the body, like, we have everything we need, like, right here with us. Like, the reason why a lot of times God is, like, people are like, oh, pray to God for this, where is that? He's like, everything's here. It's just how we're choosing to handle it. The same way that we're worried about where our food is coming from, but God gave us food for free. I'm literally sitting on the ground right now, the same ground that's going to grow the same vegetables that you're going to go and spend money on in the supermarket, and the same ground that you could be keeping the freaking chicken coop in, right, is the same ground here. So when you're saying to God, oh God, please provide this, provide that, he's like, bro, I more than provided everything. You people need to you don't even learn, and we're all just divided. Because why aren't these churches working together? Well, I'm sure because I think that one over there is a Catholic church. I think this one looks like it's probably a Pentecostal. That one I think I'm not sure what type of church that one is. You know what I mean? So again, we're the divided. You get a greater sense of community in the freaking pubs, which are also, and it's so funny because everywhere there's a church in all these places I've mentioned, there's also a pub right near. Like, there's a pub right there, there's a church right there. But you'll go to the pub. I could walk in the pub right now. In fact, I went to this exact same pub. I walked in there. They gave me a free glass of wine. They were like, welcome. Do you want to come and have karaoke tomorrow? They're really nice. I got to know the dog. His name's Bruce. Bruce loves me. Even when I walk past, even though I've only been there twice, every time I go there, he literally jumps up at me at the thing. Bruce sat with me the whole time. Bruce loves me. Me and Bruce, besties. The dog at the pub that I met literally like once or twice. You have more sense of community in these, like, and this obviously because public house. And again, I just walked in there one day because I was like, sometimes I like to randomly go to places where I don't know anybody because I just like to observe people, and also things just always happen. Like I always end up talking to somebody. Like that time I randomly decided to go have breakfast alone at Weatherspoons, and then I end up getting into this deep conversation with this whole group of friends who's been coming to Weatherspoons every whatever day for 30 years. They were all way older than me, and like we're just completely different demographics. But it was so much. It was great. Like it was lovely. And I ended up staying there for hours, like talking to them. And then again, we ended up talking about God again, because then they started to ask me questions. Not that I was talking about it, but the guy had some interesting tattoos, which I was asking about, which I didn't know what they were about. Then he goes on to talk about it and blah, 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 blah. And then just, that's what I'm saying. Like, we've lost our sense of community. We've lost our sense of a village. We're spending so much time living like the world. And that's why I think it's funny when the Bible people be like, do not conform to the ways of this world. We are in the world, but not of the world. But then we act like the world. We act like the world. The world is in tatters. The world is lacking in senses of community. In fact, I hate to say it, but actually they're doing better for a lot of these things. Like I even said, that place that I went to where I saw my producer again, where he was performing, the community there was insane. You had like a lot of younger people, like around my age, were the ones mainly volunteering. Then they had the younger kids, teenagers, who would show up to like learn. There were a few like older adults. They were like the ones who kept everything in order in terms of like making sure that the where the money was going, so things were paid for, and this, that, and the other, and consent and all the legal things, all just for a lovely little community thing. And then what did I do? We just show up, you pay like, I don't know, it was like £5. All the money is going to help to continue this to be voluntary again. We're giving to the community. We're utilizing our resources for the better. So why do I feel like there's raindrops? Because there's not a cloud above me right now. It looks like it in here, but there actually is not a cloud above me. There's a cloud behind me. No, not even, yeah, quite far behind me actually. But yeah, so I don't know, guys. These are the things that kind of depress me. I was feeling really sad today because I was just thinking like, wow, the world is really going to all this effort to mourn the Pope. And you guys already know how I feel about the Pope. I was really upset. Like I was crying for hours because I was thinking, I can't believe that people are willing to do all this crying, all this everything for the Pope, right? And I don't see this same energy for Jesus. And it's just upset me because I was just like, I can't believe that this is the world that we live in. Like, I wish people had this adoration. Like, it would be so nice if people had this adoration for Christ. And so just see this, and knowing what we know about the Vatican, for those of you guys who know about what goes down at the Vatican, knowing what we know about the Vatican is just like heartbreaking, because again, it's going to be, people are like thinking of choosing another pope. Anyway, we won't go into all of that, but you guys get the gist of what I'm saying anyways. Like, it's just sad. Like, why is the church building doors shut? They should be open. There should be stuff happening in there. You know what I mean? We should be, if we're all adults and we all can at least, at some point within a space of 2 weeks, volunteer 1 hour, I think is reasonable to do something, right? The whole congregation of people, if everybody in there volunteer, and there's going to be people with more, because again, we have the issues with, say, like older people who maybe now retired, who are very lonely. Imagine if they could have somewhere to go. It's good for them, because it's good for them to be keeping active, for their brain development and everything. They have somewhere to go. They have people that they can see. The world has somewhere to go. Because I think people underestimate the amount of loneliness that there is. Like, just having some kind of event and seeing something and just being able to go there for whatever the thing could be, you know what I mean? And just be there. It's a nice thing. It's a nice way to, like, I don't know, to have a greater sense of community, I feel like. And it's just a shame. Like, the church should be, because to me, that's what it should be. I feel like a home should be a place that people feel that they can always go to. You know what I mean? And like, they always have a place in. That's what I feel like. So why doesn't it feel like that at church? Why do people feel like they have to, if anything, be all extra prim and proper for church? That's why I'm not going to get into the clothing thing, because I feel like, again, that's a bit like, at what point it's like, what are we doing? Are we here to help? Like I said, Jesus saw the people who said they were hopeless and helpless, like sheep without a shepherd. What was he doing before he said that? He was teaching in the synagogues. He was healing the sick. He was casting out demons. You know what I mean? He was going and meeting the people at their needs. Jesus always met people at their needs, right? Not just, oh, you need to do this, you need to do this. He met people at their needs. And then for those of us who are on the other side, who now are praying to the Lord to do this and praying for the Lord for that, he's like, well, what have I given you? We talk about all these parable of the talents, and the one who had 1 talent, and the one who had 3 talents, and the one who had 10, and how they all used them. Hello, did we miss the message there? If you have something you can contribute. You know, and maybe if your church isn't offering it, maybe we should all look at me being a woman of the people. Makes me sick, honestly, but hey ho. Even now, you could go say to, you know, hey, would it be cool if, you know, to, I don't know. I'm not going to start advising things because I don't feel like I'm in the place to do such. Okay, I'm just me. But you guys get the gist. You know, it's just sad anyway. I just wanted to say that I thought it was sad. Like, the church building should never shut. Should always be open. There should always be people there. It should be alive and thriving. And then the Sunday service should just be the bit where we all see each other, we all touch base, but we've all probably seen at least a few people at other points throughout the week or whatever, or we're going to, or we're all looking forward to. You know what I mean? And then it would feel more like, because there's a lot of people I feel that just go to church, they don't know anyone, they don't know anything, and you just go there. Yes, you get a great word. Yes, it's nice, but then you just go back to your solitude, living like a Christian alone in this world. You know, where's our community? So anyway, I can't believe the Lord has got me to talk about community. I wouldn't use the word community for like 2 years on YouTube. I refused to use it until the Lord rebuked me about it. And he was like, just like I wasn't going to use the word family, I wasn't going to use the word, I was going to talk about relationships, I wasn't going to talk about any of it. And the Lord rebuked me. So nevertheless, you guys, I just think that we have so much capability to win. You know what I mean? If we could just all work together, bring whatever we have to the table together, we can make these things work. You see what I'm saying? Anyways, you guys, yeah, and for life's a game, let's play to win. God bless you all. God loves you. I love you. And I'll see you in my next one. Bye.